My wife Rachel hired someone to follow me. She swore it was just to keep me safe, of course. But when I found that tracker, man, I didn't say a word. I played it cool, totally pretended I didn't know. We've been married for 3 years, together for 5. Rachel's 33, I'm 35. No kids, and honestly, I'm grateful for that right now. I work in tech, systems analyst for a medium-sized company. She's in HR for a big pharma place. So last Tuesday, I was messing around with my car, doing some regular maintenance, and I found it. This tiny GPS tracker professionally stuck under the bumper. At first, I figured maybe it was something the dealership did, you know? But then I looked it up online. Nope. This was serious stuff, top-of-the-line spy gear, cost a fortune. My hands were literally shaking as I held it. My gut reaction was to yell at her, to confront her right then and there. But something stopped me. If she'd go this far, what else was she hiding? So instead of blowing up, I decided to play it smart. I called Kevin, a buddy of mine who works in security. He checked it out for me real discreetly. Turns out it had been active for 3 months, connected to some monitoring service. And get this, the account was in my mother-in-law's name, Elena. She's 62, classic Rachel, always using her mom as a puppet. But here's the crazy part. I was checking our phone bill completely unrelated and saw she'd been texting some number. A ton, like 150 texts in just 1 week. I ran a reverse lookup, and it turned out to be a private investigator. That night while Ratch was in the shower, I snagged a copy of her texts. We share passwords, you know, just in case. Funny how things work out, huh? What I saw chilled me to the bone. She'd actually paid some dude to tail me, keep tabs on my car, and even try to hack into my work email. Her excuse? She was worried about me since I sometimes work late. But the texts, they told a different story. She thought I was stepping out on her. No proof, nada, just a feeling. That's what the messages said anyway. The private investigator kept telling her he didn't see anything shady, but she wouldn't let up, kept badgering him to keep looking. Some of her texts. Check his office again tomorrow. Maybe he's meeting her during lunch. I know something's up. Install cameras if you have to. The pie actually seemed weirded out. He kept trying to get her to trust me, her reply. I'm paying you to find dirt, not give me relationship advice. So I played it cool, kept up my usual schedule, even texted her my location. Working late as usual. BA project deadline. Meanwhile, I was gearing up. I called a divorce lawyer, showed him everything. He told me to document everything and get more evidence. Over the next few days, I snapped pictures of the tracker, saved all her texts with the pie, and checked our house for hidden cameras. Found 3. Grabbed our financial records, made copies of all the important papers. It was 3 days later when I found her. I was at the dining table, and it looked like a police investigation, all the papers and printouts spread out. Her face just drained of color. Care to explain? I asked, keeping my voice steady. She tried to play it off. I was just worried about you. Cut the crap, Rachel. I read the texts, I said, not backing down. She tried to deflect again. If you have nothing to hide, why are you so mad? Because you hired a damn private investigator instead of just talking to me like a grown-up. That's when I dropped the big one. I'm seeing a divorce lawyer tomorrow. This is over. She lost it, screaming, calling me paranoid, saying I was overreacting. Then came the waterworks. I just love you so much, I can't lose you. Her mom called like minutes later, yelling at me to stop being dramatic. Apparently, Rachel had already twisted the story to make herself the victim. Elena, your name is on the GPS tracker account. You're an accomplice to stalking. I chose my words very carefully this time. Nothing. Then she just starts in with, she loves you. No, she's controlling and paranoid, and you let her. I'm at a hotel now. Half our friends think I'm the bad guy for not working it out. The other half are totally shocked she'd do something so invasive. But here's the thing, if she had just come to me and asked, we could have talked. Instead, she dropped tons of money on spying and dragged her mother into all of this. Trust, gone. I'll give you guys more updates later. Update 1 posted 3 days later. Wow, this really took off. I really appreciate all the messages. Some of you even called saying things were going to get rougher. You were spot on. Since my last update, Rachel completely lost it. This is what went down. First, she cleaned out our shared bank account. Just took everything. Like every last penny of $7,832. When I tried calling her, she claimed it was her money too and that she needed it for a lawyer. The bank verified she took it all out in cash. Then she changed the locks on the house. I came home from work and my key didn't work. Everything I owned was sitting in trash bags out on the lawn. My work laptop, my clothes, my personal stuff just tossed outside. Some of it got messed up. My gaming console looked like it had been dropped. Some of my work files were soaked. It had rained. Even family pictures were ripped up. Her brother, Marcus, 29, was there, acting like some kind of tough guy. Rachel yelled that I wasn't welcome anymore. This is my house too, Marcus. Not anymore, cheater. I didn't cheat. Sure, they all say that. I called the cops. 2 officers showed up. I showed them my ID with the address on it. They made her let me go in to grab some basics, but she followed me around, yelling that I was stealing my own things. The cops had to keep telling her to back off. While I was packing, with the police watching, I showed them the 3 hidden cameras I'd found earlier. Both officers perked up, especially when I mentioned the divorce. They took pictures and told me to let my lawyer know. Rachel swore those cameras were for home security, but when my lawyer asked why they were tucked away behind pictures and air vents, she didn't have a clue. My lawyer's practically doing the happy dance. Turns out in this state, spying on someone without their permission is a big no-no. So yeah, we're adding that to the divorce papers. Her whole family's now gunning for me. Her dad, Robert, actually called my boss, trying to get me canned. He said I was nuts and a danger to everyone at work. My boss called me in totally bewildered. He was like, "Tom, what in the world is going on? Your father-in-law just spent 20 minutes laying into you." I showed him the divorce papers and the police report. He just shook his head and said, "Take a few days off, sort this mess out. Your job's safe." Then her sister, Jessica, posted this Facebook thing about me being some kind of abusive, self-centered jerk who kept Rachel away from her family. The comments were insane. Half her friends were eating it up hook, line, and sinker. The other half, our mutual friends, were totally defending me, pointing out I was the one who hosted every single holiday dinner. Talk about irony. I'm the one who pushed Rachel to spend time with them. I hosted all the holidays, fixed her dad's computer 1,000,000 times, helped her brother move, even lent her sister money for car repairs. Things are starting to look up, though. That private investigator she hired. He contacted my lawyer. Seems she tried to stiff him out of $3,200. When he wouldn't make up some fake evidence, she decided his work was worthless and refused to pay. So I'm ready to swear under oath about how she was harassing me. I've got recordings of her calls where she actually offered me a bribe, a bonus to dig up dirt on someone, anything really. I'm still at the hotel, still trying to wrap my head around how the woman I loved turned into this monster. Okay, 5 days later, update number 2. The whole charade is completely blown. Rachel and her whole family. They're showing their true selves, and it's way worse than I ever could have imagined. Yesterday, Rachel, her mom, and her sister showed up at my job. Total meltdown. They created this huge scene in the lobby, screaming at the top of their lungs that I was a cheating liar who abandoned my wife. Rachel was bawling, her mom was shouting about me being a total liar, and her sister was filming the whole thing. Our receptionist called security, trying to get them to calm down, but it was no use. Rachel actually threw herself on the floor, wailing and carrying on. "How could you do this to me?" she kept yelling. Security had to physically drag them out. My boss wasn't thrilled, but luckily, he knows me well enough to see right through their act. Several of my coworkers saw the whole thing. Sarah from my department came by my office afterward and said, "Dude, your wife has completely lost it." She kept screaming about me having an affair with some woman named Melissa. Who's Melissa? I have no clue. There's no Melissa on my team, and I don't know anyone by that name. Then the icing on the cake, I got a call from my bank. Someone tried to get a credit card in my name. Guess who? Yep, Rachel. She used my social security number and faked my signature. That's straight-up identity theft. The bank flagged it, wanting more proof. But here's the craziest part. Her mom called my parents, who are old and live down in Florida. She told them I was totally losing it, that I needed to be locked up. Said I was a danger and had threatened Rachel. My own mom has a bad heart. She wound up in the emergency room because of the stress. That was it for me. I lost it. I reported the identity theft to the cops, got a restraining order against Rachel and her mother, and my lawyer tacked on harassment charges. I also reported Rachel's threats against the investigator to the Pi licensing board. The Pi was amazing. He had recordings of Rachel offering him an extra $5,000 to fake evidence. She actually said, "Just get me some pictures, I don't care how." He also had texts where she admitted to putting the GPS tracker on me and asked him to hack into my work computer. Remember that $7,832 she took? Turns out she used $2,500 to hire a second Pi. This other Pi actually called me, apologizing. He said he did some digging and found nothing. And when she wanted him to make up evidence, he gave her the money back and told her to get professional help. Those were his exact words. He said, "Ma'am, I've been doing this for 15 years. Your husband is either the most boring man in the world or totally faithful. I'm guessing both. So she still has about $5,300 of our money somewhere. My lawyer says I'll get my stuff back when the divorce is settled. Rachel's mom is in hot water now, facing charges for spying on me illegally." Since the whole thing was in her name, Rachel's looking at some serious trouble, identity theft, harassment, the works. Her divorce lawyer dumped her today. Turns out she flat out lied to him about everything. He only found out when my lawyer sent over the proof. He even called my lawyer to say sorry for wasting everyone's time. Her family, they're still sticking up for her. Her dad, get this, posted on LinkedIn, that I'm some kind of evil mastermind who turned his daughter into a criminal. He wrote this whole long thing about how I manipulated Rachel into defending herself. Yeah, right, like I somehow made her hire private investigators and commit felonies. People weren't nice in the comments. A bunch of his work buddies called him out on it. One guy actually wrote, "Robert, your daughter broke the law several times. Just admit it and get her some help." Her brother tried to scare me at the grocery store, following me around and muttering threats. I called the police, and now he's added to the restraining order. He can't come within 500 feet of me. We have a quick hearing next week, and the final divorce hearing is 3 months away. My lawyer thinks with all the evidence we have, it should be pretty easy. I'm over feeling bad for her. She made her bed, now she has to lie in it. The woman I married? She's gone. Maybe she never really existed. Final update, 3 months later, it's over. The divorce is final. Here's what happened. Rachel showed up looking like a mess, hair a disaster, clothes rumpled, everything just off. Her new lawyer, this cheap guy who looked totally swamped, tried to claim she was just acting out of love and worry. But the judge wasn't buying it, not even a little. When my lawyer started laying out the evidence, the GPS tracker, the hidden cameras, the Pi's words, the identity theft, you could practically watch Rachel's lawyer's face crumble. He clearly hadn't been prepped on half of it. He kept fidgeting with his papers, getting more and more frantic. The judge was especially interested in the recordings of Rachel trying to pay the Pi to make it look like I was cheating. Her lawyer actually tried to say those were taken out of context. The judge asked, "What context could possibly make it okay to pay someone to set up your husband for cheating?" Rachel just lost it then, started yelling that I pushed her to do this with my shady behavior. When asked what I supposedly did, she couldn't give a single specific example, just that I sometimes worked late and was always glued to my phone. The judge, missed her last name. He asked, "Rachel, did it ever occur to you that your husband might actually be working?" "He's lying," she snapped. "I know he's been cheating. A wife just knows these things." The judge asked if she had any proof of the cheating. Rachel said, "He's just too good at hiding it." The judge had to keep banging the gavel to get order. The verdict? Divorce granted, and it was in my favor. She has to pay me 15 grand for the identity theft and harassment. And a restraining order was extended for 2 years. She gets 30% of her stuff. It should have been half, but the judge took into account her bad behavior. So she's got to pay back the $5,300 that was in our joint account. Plus, she's responsible for covering my legal bills. That's $8,500. And there's even more legal stuff brewing, criminal charges in another court. The best part was when the judge finally laid it all out for her. Basically said, "Mrs., your issues and criminal actions wrecked your marriage, not some fantasy your husband was cheating." She was accused of invading my privacy, committing fraud, and harassing my family. We got lucky the criminal stuff wasn't part of this case. After court, Rachel tried to come after me. Her lawyer actually had to physically hold her back while she yelled that I ruined everything. Her family wasn't there except for a leaner who had to be there because of her own problems. The rest of them belayed when the evidence came out. Her dad actually sent me a formal apology through his lawyer, probably trying to cover his own butt for all the nasty things she said. I'm in my new apartment now. I got that promotion at work, and I've started therapy to deal with all this craziness. To all the people saying I should have just talked to her when I found the tracker, you're missing the whole point. This wasn't just about one little GPS device. It was a whole series of criminal acts that just kept getting worse. She didn't just cross a line, she completely erased it. If you're wondering if there were any signs, looking back, maybe she was always worried when I worked late, but I just figured it was a normal thing. The clinginess felt like love at the time. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Okay, so I'm finally moving on with my life. And get this, that private investigator she stiffed. He totally won his case against her in small claims court. She's out $3,200 plus all the court costs. Alina had to cop to a misdemeanor, and now she's on probation, facing fines. Rachel's identity theft thing, still going on. Her lawyer's trying to get it reduced, I guess. A lot of people have been asking, so let me be clear, I never cheated. Not even a little. I was just putting in crazy hours on this software launch. The evidence she was so sure she'd find, it was never there. That's what's so unbelievably messed up about all this. Oh, and another thing, I just heard from some friends that Rachel's been running around telling everyone I had this secret girlfriend, Melissa. There is no Melissa. Never has been. Seriously, the woman's lost it. You gotta be careful out there, people.